To learn to live the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the bell notification. It's all free. Sorry for my appearance. I've been down here tilling the garden, the corn garden that I've been working with. It's really coming along really nice with this used tiller. Now we got the carburetor replaced. I'm getting it pretty deep. So next spring we'll start planting corn, and probably by July we'll start canning corn next year. I know a lot of people think that we need to get it all done right now, but I think we've made a lot of progress in the year and a half that we've been on this property. I'm very happy with the progress. Just a real quick recap. You got to figure, we came down here, we had to set up the camper, get the solar panels going. We had to fix the well. It had a serious leak on it. We built a tiny house. We cleaned this property very nicely. I know a lot of people still think it's got a lot of trash on it, but I don't see what they see apparently. Of course, you know, we could use some storage buildings and different things. There's just a lot of things we could do. But we've got all our chickens now, all the chickens that we think we're gonna want. So we got egg chickens, and we've also started with meat chickens. We got 23 of those. They'll be butchered here in, well, this coming Thursday, 9 weeks. So they'll be butchered anywhere between 8 and 12 weeks. We're kind of keeping an eye on the roosters. They're the biggest so far, but we've only got 3 of them. So that's why we're waiting until the 12-week mark to butcher, which means we got a lot of work to do in a big hurry when it's time to butcher them. We've got our garden going. We did a test garden, make sure that that was gonna work this year. Got tons of tomatoes and cucumbers and different things off of that. So this next winter, I'll have to clean up all these trees over here so we can have the corn garden. That won't be any big deal. That'd be real easy, just knock them down. And then I can take my time cutting them up into logs. I can do that over the entire winter if I want, but just to get it down so it looks like I've made some progress. That's the thing, is there's a lot of psychology involved. If you don't feel like you're making progress on something, you tend to procrastinate. But if you can do a lot of progress all at once, then you feel like you've accomplished something and you keep forward. Of course, I've talked about this a lot, all the firewood that we've gotten. And you figure I still got jobs I have to do, regular paying jobs I have to do. Again, I know a lot of people think this needs cleaned up, but I don't know if I'll ever get this cleaned up. As soon as I get it cleaned up, I throw more wood in here. That's just the way it works. I got to get all that split. And one of these days, we might build a building over this. We kind of gave up on that with the rise in prices in lumber, but now lumber's coming back down. I may do that eventually. I'm in no hurry for it. I'm quite satisfied with what we've got so far. I want to make sure that I get all the priority things done first. Then we've also started canning our food, which makes me feel like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain the feeling of having all that food canned. We got, I think I said the last time, 160, 140, I guess it is, 140 days of canned food. Plus we got the 200 pounds of chicken meat. So that's almost a year's worth of food canned that we'll have. I don't know, there's just a real security to having the food. It's one of the things that drives me in the off-grid lifestyle. It always has. The two things that I've always thought about is electricity and food. Even water isn't that big of a priority to me, and I don't know why, because I can't live without it. I mean, that was clear as nomad. But now we have the well, I guess I don't have to worry about it as much. The well sustains this, and I've got enough backup systems to the well. I got the primary pump already in there, and I have a backup pump. I have 2 ways to power it, generator, or I can power it off solar panels. A lot of people say I should just do a DC pump. Well, that requires a lot of maintenance. You got to change the brushes on them more frequently. Also, I wouldn't be able to run it off the generator. I'd only be able to run it off solar, so then I wouldn't have a backup system. That'd be just a one system. I really like what we have. I did this sort of, kind of, back in 2008-ish. I had solar panels. I didn't have near as many as I do now. I think I only had 2 or 3. And we canned food, but we only had a small backyard. We had some chickens, but we didn't can that much. And meat, I know we canned some chicken, but not near the amount we have now. I remember thinking back then, look at all this food that we got, because it was all canned up on shelves, and it wasn't a month before we had it all eaten. It was gone. We haven't been to the grocery store in well over a month. It's been, I can't remember the last time we went. That's how long it's been. Carolyn says we still have plenty of food. We've been out of bread for a week and I haven't went and gotten any. Usually I have to go get bread 2 or 3 times a week because I used to eat peanut butter, but now we're eating eggs for lunch. The chickens are supplying enough eggs, and soon, I don't know, the littles may not produce until next spring. Carolyn said that when she had chickens and she got them late in the year, that they wouldn't produce until the next spring. So the Rhode Island should be producing now. They're old enough they should be producing, but they're not. So we may have to wait for them, which is kind of frustrating because you're feeding something that's not producing anything. So of course they don't eat a lot, so it's not a big deal. Not near as much as the meat birds, but I do think we've made a lot of progress, and I think our timing has been impeccable the entire time. When we got here, the pandemic struck and we were all on lockdown. We were nomads. You watch all these nomad YouTube channels, they were stuck. They couldn't go anywhere, and it really looked miserable to me. And I kept thinking the whole time we were nomads, if something did happen, we would have no place to go. Luckily, it looks like just about the time the food shortages are going to hit, we're going to have plenty of food that we don't have to worry about it. Again, I haven't been to the grocery store in about a month and a half, maybe 2 months even. So I don't know what the shelves look like. Only thing I got is what people tell me. What I do know is some areas of the country are in better shape than other areas. You read on Facebook, these groups on Facebook, they're talking about Walmart's running out of food here and there. But my friend John down in Texas, he works as a contractor or military employee or something for a base down in Texas. He was talking about the commissary about, I guess, a month ago. He sent me a picture. It looks like there's, like, I counted it at one time, 16 or 17 rolls of meat or packages of meat. And I thought, man. Well, then just yesterday or the day before yesterday, he sent me another picture of the commissary, and they're completely out. And I've been bugging him. I feel bad, but I've been bugging him repeatedly. Why are they out of meat? Why are they out of meat? He was able to get back with me today and tell me that he found out that they just ran out of meat. They can't find any meat. The commissary, which is a military grocery store. So this is becoming a concern for me. It's been a concern for a while. The other day I mentioned that food shortages could happen in October. I said it's the most realistic thing that could happen. Out of all the scenarios that the preppers are talking about, this one seems like the most realistic. I mean, we just came out of a pandemic, and now people can't hire employees. We hear this all the time. I don't even have TV, and I hear about it all the time. There was a chicken shortage, I guess this last winter. A bunch of chickens died. Last year during the pandemic, there was a pork shortage because of the pandemic. People were getting sick and couldn't butcher the pigs, so I guess the government bailed out the pigs industry or something, and so they just killed the pigs. They didn't produce any meat, they just killed them. It makes sense that there's going to be a food shortage. And then we hear down in Australia, which I know isn't the United States, but I do have some Australia viewers, that the truckers are on strike or going on strike. So I mean, imagine this, truckers go on strike because of the pandemic lockdowns and all the, well, I don't want to get into it all, but they have the reasons. The thing is it's unfortunate because it doesn't really punish the government, and the government doesn't care. It's going to punish the people. Well, there's talks about doing a trucker strike here too. So we already have a trucker shortage. I guess they can't hire enough people, or there's not the right amount of training, or I don't know. I'm not the expert in it. Again, I don't have TV. The only thing I got is internet, and there's just so much going on that I'm not going to look it all up. And then they're talking about trucker strike. Well, that's just going to make things worse. If the commissary already can't get meat, and Walmarts are running out of food, it's just going to get worse. So then what do we do? And I keep saying this, you got to live free, you got to live independently. Having the independence from it all is what keeps me from being fearful. I've talked about this, and somehow I'm not connecting with folks. I know I'm probably connecting with some, but there are others, and there's a lot of others who are not understanding. We've already experienced a lot in the last few years. It's not getting better. I mean, it feels like it's better right this minute, but it's not getting better. Things just slowly keep degrading and getting worse and worse and worse. So those folks that tell me that the reality of anything happening in October isn't there, it's already here. We can already see it. Unless there's a huge recovery, something happens that's major that fixes the problem. But I've gotten where I don't rely on somebody fixing the problem. It just doesn't seem like the problem ever gets fixed anymore. Then we just had a serious hurricane, and I hope everybody did well out of that. But that's going to raise fuel prices. I've already read an article on that today, and that just happened yesterday, that fuel prices could raise anywhere from 5 to 60 cents. I'm really happy that I've got everything locked down. And I know a lot of people keep saying, well, you seem to talk about yourself a lot. I. Well, okay, I am talking about myself because I'm trying to encourage you to look at things that are happening. And that this is the steps that I've taken. What steps are you taking? Have you taken any steps? Do you feel like you could go a year without food? At least take into consideration raising your own food. When you're a prepper, you still have a limited amount of food. When you're off grid, you're making your own food. You're reproducing it. And all you got to do is figure out how to continue to feed your animals and feed your plants. And we have hybrid seeds. So there's a lot that you can do where you don't have to rely on the grocery stores or the commissary or stockpile. So I hope I can inspire you to look at your independence so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.